Well,
One
but the
second.
states, like we're drawing comparisons to the states, but I don't think that their housing market is quite as important to their overall economy as
Thank
ours
you.
is to ours.
Thank you. Ours is too heavily dependent on our economy, and GDP and all that stuff is so heavily dependent. Canada, like Steve Saretsky said when he came on Trends in the Housing Market on my show, he said,
You had Steve Saretsky on your show?
Yeah, on Trends. I had him 2 times.
No way, he came on your show. That's
Nobody
awesome.
knows me, dude. Come on, nobody knows me.
That's great.
So, anyways, so he says Canada's just exporting homes to China because he lives in the Vancouver area. I was living there too, and the tower I lived in a tower with 380 units, and there was only 4 people living in the whole tower.
What?
And everything was empty, and the concierge had the keys to some units. He would go and show me, hey, Mike, come and check out this unit. Open it, completely empty. And the plastic on the microwave and the counters from 14 years ago.
You got to be kidding me. This is insanity.
Yeah.
This is insanity.
So we just had a new vacant home tax on that topic introduced in Toronto. And so now people are actually getting it. So I've got a couple clients who've had it, who didn't file their, what do they call that? Declaration, right? So they're actually getting 1% tacked on. One of them actually was exempt. They didn't need to do it, and they had a good reason for it, but I guess they didn't fill out the form properly, so they still got the tax. And there's other people who, again, are, qualify for the exemption, but are still getting charged with the tax. And like anything else, it's going to be now the onus is on them to file all the evidence to show why they should be exempt. And then they got to claw back that amount off there. And if you don't pay the amount, they're going to charge you that interest. And the interest, we didn't give you an exemption on the interest.
And the penalty.
The penalties and all that, we'll make sure that you don't have to pay the tax. But the interest, geez, you should have paid. Why didn't you pay? You should have refunded afterwards. So this is how it goes.
But long term, it's going to get ugly, guys. It's just not sustainable. We're very unsustainable right now.
Long term ugly. That's a different view than most people.
Okay.
Most people are like long Canadian real estate for sure. It's a guaranteed bet. Long term.
The food bank lineups are getting longer. Unemployment in my town, they're not getting lumber permits or something. I'm not getting into the whole politics of the lumber, but I live in a lumber town and they're not being allowed to cut. And that's all government pressure.
Not being allowed to cut?
So there's a lot of people sitting at home in my town, and there's a lot of pressures coming, external pressures, government-related pressures. All they have to do is sign 3 papers and let it go. Just like they're canceling drilling permits from oil, they're destroying a lot of, again, the private sector is under attack. And we're going to see more of this. We're going to see more usage at the food bank. You're going to start to see Canada's going to have to fill that void with bringing in a couple of 100,000, 1 million or 2 people a year to try and fill that void, to try and make up something or trying to fix a problem that's been broken on top of another broken problem, on top of another patched problem, on top of a leak, and on top of something. It just doesn't get any better.
Well, I think that everyone has got their own mind. And some of the things that we talked about at the beginning of the show, Mike, was that at the time that you were talking about inflation, nobody believed you. Nobody thought what you were saying was true. Everyone thought, what is he talking about? Inflation's 1.5%. Interest rates are record low, all these type of things. And there's been a lot of things that you said in the past that have now come true. Right.
Right.
And so today, saying these things, some of the listeners might think like, geez, there's no way that that's going to happen. There's not a chance that this is possible, but who knows?
That's what I'm seeing, guys.
I definitely
the playbook.
don't.
It's the playbook.
Yeah.
I'm following the playbook, watching things and what's going to come next or what they're going to pull next. And, I've gotten bashed by a lot of people over the years for my predictions and stuff, but I've never gotten a single apology from anybody all these years. Ever. On inflation, on food, on everything we've been talking about and incomes and the economic takeover we're seeing. I call it an economic takeover, disenfranchising the middle class, removing them basically from existence, and the end of the European expansion in Canada. And that's just me and my perspective, I guess.
Well, I want you to feel like you've got your cheers bar here where everybody knows your name, Mike, and everybody reveres you. And everybody thinks that you are doing such wonderful work.
I appreciate that.
Although I can't speak for everybody.
On behalf of the naysayers, Mike, okay?
We love you.
We're sorry for doubting your
That's
ideas.
right.
Oh, you don't have to be sorry.
10
You're
years ago.
entitled to an opinion, and you're entitled to
But
basically.
now you've got one apology that's in your books.
That's right. And
that
it's
there
on
has
behalf
been-
of many.
But I'm speaking on behalf of them all.
That's right.
And you know, that's what it is you got to
TK
just
can
keep
do
on
that. He's
fighting
a-
the good fight. Fighting the good
TK's
fight.
the number 2 realtor. He can do a lot of things.
I'm the number I'm literally number 2 in all categories.
He's willing to admit that he's not the number
Yeah.
1 realtor.
I'm definitely
And
not
that's why
number
we
1,
love him.
but number 2, like there's a few categories that I fall under for sure.
That's a superpower.